Hello and welcome back to the all new, all different number one comics podcast bonus episode. I am Dan. I'm here with Nick. Nick, what is happening? How are you doing this week?
Having a good week. How have you been, Dan?
Okay. I'm doing well. We're like in that this I probably said this last episode, but we're in that cool period between Halloween and Thanksgiving, so everything's kind of fun. Like I don't know about you, but like I kind of like going to like stores and stuff right now because it's like ramped up and like they're packed and everybody's buying stuff. So it's I don't know. I'm having fun. I got the weekend off, so I went out like shopping this morning for stuff and like doing some stuff around the house. I get to go to the studio tomorrow and like record all day, so that'll be super fun. So
Oh, record music, right?
yep.
Nice. Drums.
Yes. I'm gonna go record with my band. We're gonna do like we've been slowly. I guess at first we considered doing like an EP or something or like they kind of talked about a full length and I was like, look, I don't want to go in the studio and record a full length. I did that before and it's like unless you have like a huge following, you just sit on a bunch of stuff. So I was like, I don't see any point. So we've been going in like kind of doing like just a song. At a studio or whatever. And it's been really fun. It's been really cool. Working with the engineer there has been awesome. So I like it.
Recording a full album is a task. It's no like small feat. It's like really a lot of planning and you got to have all those songs perfectly down. And so totally understand where you're coming from with that. When you said that you were buying stuff, are you buying stuff for other people or are you buying stuff for yourself?
Oh no, yeah, for myself. We went to me and my wife went to like an estate sale this morning and just bought a bunch of random stuff. So, like some like we're actually gonna try this thing. Like we bought some like really big pictures, like framed and everything, like prints or whatever, like old crappy looking artwork. And I'm gonna paint. They're really big, so I'm gonna paint one of my cats on one of them, and she's gonna paint the other cat on the other one. So we're gonna do that and hang them up in our room and see how that goes. So that'll be fun. Yeah, and just out doing that. Doing like the Target thing and everything. That's always fun. So
yeah, during this time, I think there was a period in my life where I hated it. I hated tons of people at the store. I hated going out with my parents and like. Oh, it's Christmas time again. I have to sit here and sit in line for like an hour or whatever and try and get like whatever it was that we needed for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of appreciated it a little bit more because I don't know what it is, but the more I go out and I like get more social, the more I enjoy it.
Yep.
And especially with like random people around the community or random people at the store, it's like, I don't know, but there is a ton. I live in Southern California, so there is lots of traffic. There's lots of people at the malls. There's lots of stuff going on during this time for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of fun. Whatever. one of those things. How about you though? How's your week been?
Week's been good. I went to see John Mayer last night with my sister. My sister had an extra ticket, and she was like, "My friends can't go. Can you go with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And I'm really a big fan of John Mayer's Continuum album. But last night he did a solo show, so it was just him and a guitar, and it was fantastic. He actually played piano too, and I was like, oh, there's just nothing this guy can't do. I was kind of upset because he was playing piano and he played it beautiful, and he was playing guitar. He would like play guitar and then put the guitar down and play piano and then play the guitar again, and I was like, come on, man. Come on.
Stop showing off.
Give me a break, dude. Especially like being a musician. I'm like, come on, man. Like you can just play guitar. Don't make me feel bad for not knowing how to play all these instruments,
Yeah, like how are you going to play guitar really, really good, sing really, really good, and then hop on piano too? Come on.
Right, yeah. But it was fantastic. And I did that last week. I saw another band on Saturday. It's the perks of living near Los Angeles,
Sure. Yeah. Very awesome. Well, cool. Well, yeah.
I was gonna ask about your interview that you did with the guy. We're gonna do the artist and writer of ZAWA. ZAWA and the Belly of the Beast. How was it?
Yeah, it's Michael. God, in my head it's like so easy to say, and then when I say it, it's impossible. Dialynas, I think is how you pronounce it. I believe that's how you say it. Michael
You
Dialynas.
you should know.
I should know.
You
Yes, I
interviewed him.
should know.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make clips of all these podcasts that we've done so far and just put
Yeah.
Michael, and I'm just gonna edit all the parts where you can't say someone's name.
Yeah, exactly. Just a super cut of me like stumbling on everybody's name. I love it. That would be a great bonus episode all in its own.
Give me 30 minutes of that.
Yeah, exactly. Shit, probably longer. Yeah, no, Michael was so cool. He was. I've interviewed a lot of people. I've been really. I have no idea how, but the comic book community has been so cool. I'm a complete nobody. Like I'm not involved in comics other than just a reader and collector. So I don't know anybody who works on comic books or anything like that. But these people have been so amazing to where I can just send them an email and say, hey, I run this podcast. Give them a little bit of information on it, and they get right back to me and they're like, yeah, I'd love to do it. We set up a time and then we hop on. So it's been so cool. And I've talked to some of my favorite writers and artists and stuff like that. It's been insane. Like I never thought that would happen. So that's been really cool. When I reached out to Michael, and I thought it was going to be a long shot because I don't know if you and I discussed this or not before, but this was the cover of previews for I can't remember this August or September issue or whatever.
We did talk
the
about
cover,
that,
yeah, the cover of previews, the comic book, catalog that the shops order from and all of that. So this was the cover. So I was like, I don't know, dude's probably going to be so busy. He's probably going to have time, whatever. I'll reach out anyways. But yeah, he got right back with me and was like, hell yeah, let's do it. I was really stoked. I talked to him. I tried to keep it like, very focused on this because he's done a lot of other stuff that I really love too. He did Wind with James Tynion, which is such a cool book, and that's still going. He's done a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles work, which, yeah, hands down.
I love the print of I think there's a print that he has of Michelangelo sitting, and then he's like looking at he's looking at something, and then on the wall is all of the other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles weapons that he uses because he's the last Ronin now.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, I saw that, I was like, wow, and I know that Michael did that, and I was like, wow, that was really cool concept.
Yeah, it's insane how great of an artist he is. Like he's really, really good, and like he's got a very unique style that I really like a lot. Really cool. So yeah, I tried to keep it really focused on this book. We talked a little bit about other stuff, him breaking into comics, him working with James Tynion and all of that, which was really cool. But yeah, once we got into this comic, it was almost like I was starstruck because a lot of times people don't do this. A lot of times whenever a book is coming out and it's not released yet, because I interviewed him before the book actually came out, I just, kind of had the synopsis to go off of, whatever, like some questions that I think, might pertain to the book or whatever. But Michael was super cool. It was, I want to say I talked to him about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks before the book came out. And he's like, cool, here's a PDF of the entire book, the entire issue and everything. And I was like, I get to read the book first. This is so cool. I don't ever get to do this. So I got to read it and talk to him, directly about the things that happen in the book and all of that. I try to keep it really spoiler free and everything. But yeah, it was so cool talking to him. Such a cool guy. And I'll say this too. He is somebody who really is like super passionate about what he's doing. So he was really excited to talk about everything. And I try to keep all the interviews like always in my mind. I'm like, let's do 30 minutes. They always end up at 45 because I'm pretty long-winded too. But I mean, we talked for about 30 minutes before we started recording. And then after we were done recording, we talked close to an hour. So like, I mean, just a really cool guy. And when I say passionate about this project and about the stuff he's working on, like you won't meet anybody else that's more passionate about the stuff that they're doing. Like he is just in it. So really cool. I was really excited to talk to him. It was very awesome.
That's cool. That's and I saw the podcast length of your last podcast. And it was like 2 hours or something like that, I think, right?
Yeah, it was a long.
So I was like, wow, that's kind of longer than usual.
Yep. Yeah.
But glad it went well. That's awesome.
Yeah, it went really well. So how about I know you don't typically or you do, I can't remember exactly, but I know you read digitally a lot. Yeah. Have you made it to like your local comic book shop this week at all or last week or anything?
No. Okay. 2 weeks ago was the last time I went. Okay. They have all my pulls like in my box still. So it's really it's really just getting down there that's like the hardest part for me,
Yeah,
because
sure.
I'm very like loyal
Yeah.
to them, and
Mhm.
it's like 45 minutes away. So
Oh
it's
wow,
just
yeah, that's
all about
insane.
me going down there and doing stuff. But why do you ask?
Uh, the reason that I asked is because I was wondering how the like community around this book was because I'm I discussed this with Bob on the regular feed. Like it was so crazy, to again, like I read this book beforehand, I interviewed Michael, and then going into the shop the day of release, this book was all over my shop. It was like my shop there's like three like steady employees, like the owner and then like two guys who have who are always there or whatever. So like on the new releases, like everybody puts up like a little like this is their pick of the week. They do like a reading pick of the week, a cover pick of the week, all this kind of stuff. Like everything's like a pick of the week. There's a shop dog there, and like the shop dog has a pick of the week and all of that. So they're really based in that. But like everybody, everybody was talking about this book. Everybody had a copy in their hand. Every single person, waiting in line and everything had the regular A cover. They had the Scotty Young FOC reveal, and they had the incentive cover. Like everybody was all about this book. So I was just wondering if it was the same thing over there on the other side of the country. But
Yeah, I have not been to the shop, but I know that this book has already gone to second print.
yep,
So that's saying a lot. After the
yeah,
first couple days, it already went into second print. So
yeah,
it
nuts,
must be
right? And
flying off the shelves.
the cool thing was, I wouldn't say I wouldn't use the phrase or word like humble. Like it's not like Michael. Like I wouldn't say he's like super humble, but I mean he wasn't braggy or anything. Like there's a pretty good like middle ground there. But like he was, I think we talked about it a little bit off air, but he was just like, I'm kind of nervous. Like I don't know how this book is going to do. I don't know if it's going to do okay. I don't know if people are going to like it. I'm really anxious right now, and it's about to come out and everything. And I was like, dude, this is going to be the top of everybody's going to be talking about this thing. And he was like, I don't know. So I'm really anxious to send him an email, and talk to him and ask what he thinks now. Now that it's gone to a second print, now that everybody loves it and all of that. Like I think that would be really cool to follow up. But yeah, just really cool and such a cool guy. So yeah,
I'm glad such a cool guy that you got to talk to or whatever is just having success,
yeah,
regardless of because he's been working hard for
yeah,
like a
for sure.
while. So it's like in due time he'll have this like he'll get what's coming, which is like the rewards of whatever he's been working on. This book is very, very like vibrant and colorful, and the fact that you
Yeah,
said that there was a Scotty Young cover, I'm like, that makes a lot of sense,
yeah,
because it
exactly, right.
reminds me a lot of Scotty Young and how Scotty Young does his stuff, where he'll do the art for it, and then he'll also like write, like he wrote Twig, which came out
Yep.
last year,
Oh man,
which
yeah,
I was a fan of Twig. There should be, ooh, that's the
yeah.
Scotty Young
That's
cover.
yeah, yeah.
And Scotty
Corporation.
Young is just one of those people where you see something that he's done and you're like, that's Scotty Young.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
for sure
exactly.
Scotty Young. It's so is that another Scotty Young cover?
That's an incentive. Yeah, the incentive. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
That one looks
yeah,
crazy.
really good. Yeah, and Michael did that. So yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
So yeah, this this book by itself is something to look at and be like, oh, there's something unique going on here.
yeah,
From the get-go. It's like, oh, okay, the designs are really cool, the art's really cool, I love the vibrancy, I love the neon, the purples and the greens, the weirdness of it.
yep.
I think I might like the concept more than I actually like the content a
Hmm.
little bit, because I
Sure.
was reading it and the content, I was like, okay, the characterizations are there, but like some of them seemed a little off to me.
Hmm.
But when it comes down to it and you're like looking at a book that's like something new and something like creatively different than something that I'm used to reading,
Hmm.
then then there's reason to pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. And I think for like you or I, not having Michael here on the show and all that, and like we can talk more, straightforward about it or whatever. A lot of times, I don't know about you. I don't know how big you are into like Boom Studios books or whatever, but Boom does Boombox, which is like an all ages imprint or whatever
Hmm.
of Boom Studios. So as you see, this is a Boombox book, so it's like an all ages book. So everything is here, in here is going to be safe for all ages to read and all of that. And I don't have a problem with that kind of thing. Like I collected Adventure Time and Steven Universe comics and stuff like that too, Power Ranger stuff, all of that stuff. But sometimes that can be like a little. It's almost like throwing a label out there that's like, all right, you're not going to get like too deep into anything. Like there's not going to be people like so passionate that about a certain thing that like there's going to be like cuss words in there that's not going to be like super violent. Not that a comic book needs those things, but like sometimes that kind of thing can turn people off or whatever. And I had that thought at first too. When I saw it was Boombox, I was like, okay, so for all ages, it's not going to be exactly what I'm used to for like an indie book. But I think that the workarounds in this are like I think that he achieves all of that really really well. One of the things that I like about this book a lot, and I guess we'll get into our more traditional breakdown of it in a minute, but one of the things that I do like about it that I pointed out to Michael when I had him on was the setting. I really like the world building a lot. I think that's my favorite part of it because it's almost like post-apocalyptic, dystopian like future, but at the same time it's not, and it's this really vibrant city. And I'm like, how do you have both of those things going on here? But it shouldn't work. Like it honestly shouldn't work because they're two very different things. And I don't understand how you bridged that and like made it both of those things. And it's not that Michael like had an answer for me really, but of course, a lot of it was like, hey, there's a lot more to come. There's a lot more that reveals like, what happened before and all this. And I'm like, okay, I probably need to step back and just, wait until I read those issues to understand that. But I really like that about the book. That's something that I can't think of anything else where I've really seen that. Usually you get the dystopian future or whatever, and that's like kind of the showcase. You don't have like this big nice city along with it. Like I don't know, I thought it was a really cool juxtaposition.
Yeah, and that's the world building, I guess, that you would say, like the concept of this world where there's this legend or mythology of this creature that is eating people, the Globbedygook or whatever they call it, Globbegeist or whatever it was.
Something like that. Yeah.
The Gobblegeist, the scary Gobblegeist. That's what the girl calls it, the sister of the guy. When she says the Gobblegeist, like there's this legend that like when you go to this place that I hope you don't get eaten by the Gobblegeist or whatever like that. And then it turns out to actually be true. And that's that's ZAWA, or right? That's the name of the creature, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I don't know if.
Oh yeah. We do call it out towards the end of the book.
It definitely says it. And there's this like great, my splash pages. There's a great splash page where it says ZAWA in the top. Yeah, that one. Yep. Yeah. Really cool. That could have been the cover, I thought. That would have been really cool. Last Guardian of the Mountain. So like that thing is cool about it, the mythology of it, and there's also some like sinister doings from the guy who's in charge of this factory or this company or whatever like that. We don't really see that guy very much, but it's this thing where they've let the cat out of the bag, or they've let this monster loose on the city, but this monster isn't really a monster. It's kind of like just it's just like this thing that's like hasn't been around people, so it doesn't really know how to act. So it's going to be one of those things where they probably befriend it and they go on these adventures, or they try and stop it from happening, something like that. But the quirkiness of it reminded me a lot of Invader Zim.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
okay. It reminded me of Invader Zim a little bit with the quirkiness, with the because there's like monsters and it's kind of like weird and like scary, but it's not, because at the end it just eats something. It goes, that was good, and it's just like, oh, it's like a little quirky, which makes it the all ages aspect as well. But
and that's it's funny too, because that's kind of like the point of the book. And again, like I have I've read it a few times, and I read it right before we started this record too. But it's kind of like ZAWA is imprisoned and given basically like trash. That's what ZAWA's feeding off, trash. And it makes ZAWA like this really sad creature or whatever. And we don't know yet why ZAWA is imprisoned here, what would happen if ZAWA wasn't, and why. Obviously, society works the way it does in this place, and the mayor's tied into it and everything by suppressing this creature. Whenever ZAWA's given like good nourishing food is whenever ZAWA becomes the ZAWA that's on the cover of the book, and the happy ZAWA at the end. So yeah, it's all tied into food. It's all tied into like not eating the garbage and then eating good food. So we don't know exactly like what that is yet or why that is, but obviously we'll find that out as the series goes along. Yeah, it's I actually asked Michael, and this might have been like, going into like a weird territory with him. I'm not sure like how he took it, but I mentioned rare flavors because I was like, look, you have a really food focused book. Like it's really focused on food here. Ron V just came out with rare flavors, and that's completely centered around food. That's the whole,
Mhm.
basic point of the book or whatever. And I was like, you got a lot of this in there. You got these kids that like working in a bakery. You have the mom working for the mayor, developing drinks and food and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, so Ron V decided to put recipes in his book, and make them work along with the story and everything. And Michael was kind of like, yeah, I had some of those thoughts too. I thought, maybe if we did really well, like maybe there'd be some supplemental material that comes along later, like in trades or something with like some recipes and stuff in it, which I thought might be a cool idea, without really lifting anything from something like rare flavors. But yeah, they both use food. And they use them in a really, really different way.
Mhm. Yeah,
But I thought that was interesting.
it's not like Ice Cream Man, where it's like,
Yeah,
like
true.
Ice Cream Man is like one of those books that I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's all based on like ice cream, or it's all based on like the Ice Cream Man walking around feeding people like these ice creams, but it's not really about that at all. It has nothing to do with food. It's all about scary stories and disgusting things. This is actually like what it reminded me of is like the fast food industry's hold on a nation, kind of.
Yeah.
And like how it can destroy certain aspects of it, and like even like, I don't know, create poverty in some way, or create this dystopian era of it reminded me a little bit of like Idiocracy too, how like
Oh man.
have you seen that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a million times. Yeah.
Did you know that the Crocs came from that movie?
No.
Did you ever know that?
I had no
For
clue.
all the viewers who are watching this, that's a quick little tidbit is Mike Judge, who is the creator of Idiocracy, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. He said, I really want these people to like wear like the stupidest shoes. Can you design something like that for me? And the person who designed those shoes designed Crocs for the movie.
Wow.
And then he was like, these are so stupid. Like, I'm going to have everybody wear these in the movie. Those are the first time Crocs were used ever. And then that person who created Crocs actually sold them after the movie, and they became Crocs.
That's insane. Yeah, I had no clue.
That's a crazy tidbit that I just know randomly a fact of. But but yeah, this reminds me of kind of like the fast food in that movie, where it was just like, welcome to Carl's Jr., fuck you, or whatever. Like, we're gonna take away your baby. Like, you are unfit to be a mother. Because they have like this hold, because they're just a corporation, they have all this money, and the people who are in charge of these things kind of like poison people at the same time. And they make them addicted to it because of all like the sodium or whatever. And this kind of reminded me of that too, where this guy's developing in the bakery, he's developing this good food that his dad would have been proud of. So his dad passed away, and they keep saying, oh, your dad would be so proud. Your dad would be so proud of this food that you're making. You're just like your dad. I wonder if that's going to come into play a little bit, like what happened with the dad, because maybe this dad was making good food and this guy, the corporation, didn't like it or something like that. Maybe it was helping people with like the nourishment. Not sure, but I could go way off into these like tangents. But
well, yeah, I mean, that's something that I didn't notice the first time I read the book. It took me like till the second time, but I honestly, it was pretty straightforward, but I didn't put it together. The first few panels we have somebody going to visit ZAWA and giving them some food. And it's a nice encounter. Obviously, it's like, here you go, I'm sorry, things will be better soon, or whatever it is, like, and then it's like 10 years later, and then it shows the current time in the book, and obviously that was the dad, giving Zawa good food.
Of course, yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize.
Dude, I didn't catch it the first time I read it at all.
Oh, I only read it once, and I was thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, that guy in the beginning. There you go. That makes a lot of sense.
That's the dad. Yeah, so it ties that in, but yeah, it's interesting, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm not sure how to put it. I don't want to make it. I don't want to like dumb it down. This is an all ages book. Like, this is absolutely an all ages book. This will I feel like this is probably, in my opinion, a little more appealing to people like younger than us. Now, with that being said, like this is a good read. Like I really like it. I enjoy it. I think I'm probably gonna enjoy it for the art more than the concept of the book, but I really like the concept of the book. So we'll I'm not even trying to say that we're at that place in the podcast yet where we're, recommending the book or not recommending or whatever. I just think it's a very nuanced book, and I think that it would be worth knowing that going in. That
Right.
kind of prepare yourself for an all ages book. If you're cool with that, then this checks all the boxes and this works really really well. If you're not looking for an all ages book, I don't know. Like I do feel like this works absolutely on its merits alone, and you can read this as an adult and really enjoy it. But it does have that all ages feel, if any of that makes sense. I feel like I'm
Right.
contradicting myself a little
I
bit,
know, I
but
completely
yeah.
agree. Don't go into this expecting the best dialogue. Don't
Mhm.
go into this expecting like the best, I don't know, character growth or characterizations of characters. Go in this thinking, I'm gonna dive into this world like a Scotty Young would, like a Scotty
Yeah.
Young
Mhm.
book, and I'm gonna look at all these cool things that are going on in here, and I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna enjoy the ride of it, and
Yeah.
just hopefully get some good some good read out of it, like some good enjoyment of just looking at pages, reading what's on the pages, and not expecting this to go super above and beyond of what you might be used to, especially if you're like an avid reader and you've read everything under the sun.
Yeah. Sure.
Like if you pick up every single book and you're like, I know exactly what's a good read or what's a bad read, just go into it like, I don't know, as like popcorn book. It's kind of like a popcorn movie, It's just like, I'm not going
Definitely.
to Fast and Furious expecting the best dialogue and whatever. I'm going there to just enjoy my time. And in this case, I'm enjoying all the things in the background.
Mhm.
Honestly, I'm enjoying. There's a good page where you said, like, it said 10 years later. There's a
Yeah. Mhm.
beautiful page of like this like fish that has like this ball at the end of its mouth. There's like food. There's just like ads everywhere. There's all these nice lights. Like it looks very Christmassy. There's like this tree that's the shape of a person. There's so much like little stuff in there. And then, but in the background of that, I'm like, oh, cool. We see the corporations and all the smog that's filling the city. And those are like the little things that I'm like, okay, I'm not looking to get in depth with the dialogue or the words or whatever. I'm looking for this for like all the little tidbits of art that I can pretty much tell you what this book's about by not reading it. I could tell you exactly what's going on, which is what I took it as. And I actually like it. And the character designs fantastic. I just really enjoy the art for sure. And I love the world that he's building.
Yeah, it's some great art, and yeah, I mean, perfectly said there. The world building's really really good. The story, there's a lot more to it than what we see here in this first issue. You can obviously tell there's going to be a lot, coming later from this. Now, one of the things that I do want to say about it before we get it, get to the part where we recommend it or not or whatever, is it's I feel like it's a pretty simple, straightforward story.
Mhm.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I love a lot of stories that are really simple and straightforward. But I'm gonna equate it to something, and this could be like a super hot take. So I don't know. I don't mean to offend anybody listening or anything like that, or you if you're really into this. But I'm like I'm always gonna be like more of a Marvel guy, like Spider Man, that kind of thing. Like as opposed to like reading like a DC comic book.
Mhm.
So sometimes I feel like although both the publishers have very like long histories with their characters and drawn out backstories and lots of nuance and everything. When I think about it, like at a base level, like at a really simple, straightforward level, I'm more I'm going to gravitate towards like picking up a Spider-Man, a Wolverine book, whatever, as opposed to Batman. If I see Batman sitting there on the stands, I'm like, it's really straightforward. Like it's Batman versus the Joker. It's a guy dressed up. It's a guy who has a bunch of money who dresses up like a bat and fights crime. Okay, that's cool. Like, and you can do a lot with that. And sometimes it really really works, and sometimes it's really really boring to me.
Oh,
So
okay.
the,
That is an interesting hot take because I have a
yeah,
friend who's the exact opposite.
really.
Where he's like, I will pick up a Batman book before I pick up
Mhm.
any Marvel book because I'm not interested in what Spider-Man's doing during the day. I want to see
Yeah.
Batman mess up those villains and see like
Yes, yes.
how he does it this time. You know what I mean? I just want to
Yeah.
see like what goes on in this version of the Batman story, you know?
No, and that makes perfect sense. And that's the reason that I bring it up and kind of where I wanted to go with what I was saying. Again, this book is very, very different from any DC or Marvel book. This is not like Batman. This is not like Spider-Man.
Right.
This is its own thing. It's very, very different.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that I bring that up and say that is because like we saw with the City of Madness. Was that the name of the Batman
The
book? We
Batman
did? Yeah,
book?
the
Yeah.
Christian Ward book. Okay, yeah, yeah. So like we saw with that, I love that book, dude. I thought it was awesome. It was so
Mhm.
good. It was really, really cool, and it was really, you can tell a really compelling Batman story, and you can like there's a million really, really good Batman stories that I love that I think are really, really good. But the day to day, like regular Batman, is a little bit boring to me, so I kind of stay away from it for the most part. Now, I think the same thing about stuff like this or all ages books. Like, if you, it's work to go into them and really have some depth and make them really, really good and compelling, in my opinion. And at the surface level, they might be a little too straightforward. To me, I see this appealing to a lot of people, and I see it being like a really, really good book. I like it a lot because I think that Michael has really dug in deep and done his homework on it and really fleshed this out. But I think it would be really, really easy in anybody else's hand to make this like a very boring book that I would just kind of show off, not care about.
Oh, okay.
So
I see.
that's
I
kind
see
of
what
the
you mean.
reason I bring it up. Like I'm not equating it to any of those other things, but I think that people, are going to kind of gravitate towards the simplicity of it. But if you want to peel back the layers a little bit, there's a lot there to peel back.
There's a lot you could do. For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And there's a lot he's probably trying to do. And that's
Yeah,
why the beginning had that flashback. That's why
yeah,
the I like I really enjoy what you're saying about uniqueness and
mhm,
not being boring
yeah,
because it's true. You can make a book that is just that's the same book, but it doesn't have all these unique aspects of it.
yeah,
Like the ZAWA character design itself, to me is very unique. It's very
very,
like
yeah,
it's very pushed towards people who like Coraline or something like
mhm,
that, where it's like, oh, there's this like dark entity, but really there's like this this feel good like element to it where it's not so serious. It's not so like, oh, everything has to be like a great character dialogue between two people. It's like, well, let's just get the task done and do it in a unique way with personality. And I kind
mhm,
of enjoy that. And I understand what you mean about the Batman thing. And what I liked about City of Madness, which we've done, is the unique take on the Batman story.
yes,
You know what I mean? It's not about Batman. That book is not about Batman at all. It's about the things that go on underneath Batman's watch and all
mhm,
the different elements that could happen that we don't see. And that's much more interesting to me than Batman has this mission. He has to fight the Joker, and I agree with you on that. It's I want to see the underbelly, which is what this book is really. It's like seeing the underbelly
yeah,
of
it
the
really
city
is.
because we don't get into anything about what the city's like at all. We go into the underbelly of like what's really going on, which is kind of cool. And I like that. And it's the definitely agree with you on that part. And I don't think that that's a hot take really. I think people would agree with you
Sure.
for the
I mean,
most part, except for my
yeah,
friend who
there's
loves Batman.
yeah, I mean, shit. Walk into my local comic book shop and tell them that you're not like the biggest Batman fan in the entire world. No,
And they'll
yeah,
scoff and they'll
yeah.
beat you up. They'll get out their
They're like,
pitchforks.
wait a second. We are called Gotham City Limit. But
Oh,
yeah,
they are?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah. The Batman thing to me, I love Batman, but I love Batman stories. I don't really love Batman as the
yeah.
character. You know what I mean? I
Sure,
love
sure.
the different types of Batman stories.
Yeah, and and I mean, just to circle back to that, I mean, not that I need to defend
We're
myself
gonna
here or
get
anything,
killed
but
after
I
saying
know,
all this
yeah,
stuff bad about
absolutely.
Batman.
We've done it on the regular feed a lot. Don't worry, but
Yeah.
yeah, the I think my biggest problem is there's a lot there with Batman. There's a lot there you can do with Batman. I think that again, like on the surface level, like I mean, like watching the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson and stuff like that. no thanks. That's like the worst Batman story I've ever heard in my entire life. I want nothing to do with it.
That's a real hot take right there.
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
I like that hot take. That's a great hot take. You know why? Because I watched it the first time, I thought it was amazing. I watched it the second time and I turned it off.
Yeah, it's bad. It's so
halfway
bad.
through, I was like, I don't care anymore. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I think they messed up the Riddler. Let's not go into the Batman.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I can talk about that all day.
It's a Batman movie for people who don't like comic books and stuff, in my opinion. It's like a film, you know. It's like one of those. It's for film snobs, like.
Right.
But my biggest problem with Batman, and again, like we'll move away from this very.
Poor ZAWA is getting no love right now.
I know. It's okay. Look, we're 35 minutes in. It's fine. But it's the Joker. I don't like the Joker. I think he's a bad character, and I think that, like, you know, as like a small Batman villain, like, sure, have the Joker, but as his like main antagonist all the time, and we always have this Joker stuff. Dude, I'm not interested. The Joker's a lame character. Anyways, hot take over. Just not into the Joker very much. But yeah, ZAWA. You know, getting back to the book, and again, like I did say, we were like, you know, 35 in, so we could wrap this up. But you know, just getting back to the book, in my opinion, you know, what I will say about it is Michael has really, really thought about this world, really fleshed it out. Please, everybody, if you've not heard that interview yet, go listen to it, because just to listen to Michael talk about this book is really cool. But I would absolutely say, you know, yes, move on to issue number 2. There's a lot here to go off of. It is a really, really cool, fun story. But just go in, like, you know, expecting to have some fun, because it's got that kind of tone to it. It's fun. It's like a fun adventure. You're not gonna, you know, ZAWA's not gonna pull out like a AK and start shooting people. Like, it doesn't have that kind of thing in it. Like, there's not gonna be killing and stuff. It's like a fun all ages romp, but it works if you're an adult too. So that's kind of where I land on it, and I'd love to hear like where you land on it.
I agree. Go into this not expecting the most amazing, I've said this before, don't expect the most amazing dialogue, don't expect the most amazing like plot ever. Go in just thinking this is a unique take on characters that are interesting, and we're getting into world building, so it's not like you're just going to get everything right away.
Yeah.
It's going to take some time probably for this to flesh out a little bit. But if you like Invader Zim,
yeah.
If you like Invader Zim, like the quirkiness of it, the weirdness of it, the designs, if you go into this just wanting to appreciate some good designs, some good art, something different, you know, like if you're just reading Batman, Spider-Man comics all the time, and you're like, you know, I want to read something different and just try out something that it's a little cool, a little different than what I'm used to, then go into this thinking that, pick it up. I'm gonna read issue 2 for sure. I do want the physical copy actually, but I read it digitally. It's the same thing, but I think I'm probably gonna ask my hopefully they didn't sell out. I'm probably gonna grab this in a physical copy just so I can have it, because I think that this could be something that later down the line I could like give this to someone else like as a full story in physical format, and they would actually appreciate it, like a kid. You know, I'm a teacher, so if I could give these comics to someone, they would probably actually appreciate it. Junior high, high school type, middle school, high school type ages would love this. So
absolutely.
If you're into that type of stuff and you don't mind it, then, you know, go into this and pick it up, try it out.
Yeah. But yeah, and well put. I again, like I do like this. I don't want it to come across, you know, any other way. This was a really good book, and I absolutely recommend it. I just wanted to you know, like dig in deep, you know, and say what we had to say about it. So yeah, guys, ZAWA number 1, really, really striking cover here, really amazing artwork, and ZAWA Belly of the Beast number 1 in all accounts there. But yeah, really cool book. Definitely go out and pick that up. It might be a little bit hard. Like Nick said at the beginning, this is sold out at the distributor level at least, and going to a second print. So you might have to wait on that second print, which I think drops December 6th, I think. Got a cool new second print cover that Michael did the artwork for. So, you know, pick that up, or if you have to, you know, maybe go try to find the incentive or the Scotty Young or whatever. But yeah, if you can still find it out there, I would absolutely pick it up. That's all I can say, and ask your shops to make sure they get you on issue number 2 or that second print or whatever. And I guess, that wraps it up. That's all we got to say about it. But thank you so much, Nick, for covering this book with me. Much appreciated. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, make sure you use our hashtag #AllNewAllDifferentNation. You could win a copy of this book. And again, man, I want to give this away to somebody because this is some top-notch. If you just want a really amazing cover sitting in your collection, you'll get one here. So if nothing else,
I agree.
You have that. So
go support Michael because he wrote this and he did the art and he did the cover. What an amazing guy.
Yeah, he knocked it out of the park. So make sure you guys support him so we can see more of his stuff upcoming. But yeah, thank you so much, Nick. Much appreciated, and we'll see you guys next time.